Okay, hello everybody.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Liron,
I'm Gal,
and we are married couples and running together
relationship experts, and
Love Made Simple and workshops for couples and the couple center.
online courses and counseling.
Right, yeah. Anyway, we are here again and we're excited to see you here with us. And today we're going to talk about transitions as part of the series of preparing yourself to the holidays and being more connected and more in love with each other.
So we call it having rituals of connection. You know, the holidays a lot of times is time in which you have rituals with your family, right? You meet with the family, you do a lot of things as a family, but we also have rituals with each other as a couple. And rituals are things that you can do on a daily basis or a weekly basis that makes you feel closer and more connected and maintain more of the connection and the juice in your relationship, right? A lot of people are asking, like, how do we stay connected? You know, if we've been together for a while and with life is busy and everything. And so one of the big answers is having your routines and rituals of connection.
Right. And it's not complicated. It's not like a ritual that you have now to like candles and you have to prepare the house or organize things differently. It's things that you may say to your partner or may act with your partner, little behaviors that you can adopt and repeat them every day while you're transitioning. We'll talk about what is transitioning in a moment. So it will establish in the system of your family. We found it very powerful. We found it really difficult when we don't do that, or we forget to do that, or we get sometimes overly busy and we just like not slowing down. And then we realizing that, we forgot to do that ritual, right? That connection. Maybe we can talk about what is a transition.
Right.
Yeah.
And so one of the important rituals I think that we want to recommend is something that most people don't know actually, that's very overlooked, is the ritual of transitions. And so if there's one important tip that you want to take about how to create more of a connection and more juice in your relationship on a more daily and weekly basis, is paying attention to transitions. So this video is really important, and we hope you kind of pay attention to it and actually follow it.
Yeah. Yeah. So transition is every time that's basically you're separating or coming back to connection with your partner. It can be with your kids also, of course, or with your plants or with everything. But basically we're talking about connection with your partner. So each time when you separate, it can be in the morning when you leave the bed and you go to brush your teeth or whatever you do. It can be when you go to work, if one of you actually leave the house, or these days you may go to a different room.
Right.
You
go for an hour and then you come back and meet each other
right.
for lunch.
So that's a transition. It can be when you go to meet friends or doing some activities separately. So every time when you separate from each other and not seeing each other for, let's say, at least, I want to say, an hour or two, that's a transition, and that's where we want to invite a ritual to be part of your routine.
And every time
when you come back. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's, by the way, includes when you're going to sleep and you wake up in the morning. So when you go to sleep, it's a transition because you move to a different state. You're not there with each other really when you sleep, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's like, you reconnect. I haven't seen you all night really, even if you've been in the same bed with me.
Right. So for some couples, it can be, these little separations or transitions. And sometimes it can be big, like some of you may travel. So it may take a day or two, a week or two, sometimes even longer. Or some of you are going maybe to do a retreat. That can take away time from the relationship. Like things that's taking time away from the relationship are big ones, as important to do some rituals around them.
Right. And I want to say also for a moment, like, why transitions are important. And so I think they're important because something in us, in the back of our mind, even if we've been together for many, many years, is always asking that question of like, are you still there for me? Do you still care about me? Do you still like me? And it doesn't matter if you've been together for 30 years already. Something in us is still asking, and how are we today? How are we now? Do you still love me? Do you still care about me now? right? And it's a thing of nurturing. It's like, just like you don't say, well, you know, if you grow a flower or a tree, you don't say, well, last week I gave you water, so that you already know that I give you water, so you don't need water, right? It's like you have to keep watering the plant, right? And so the same thing in your relationship. It's like the fact that I felt loved by you, you know, 2 months ago, does not mean that today I don't feel like the need for more reassurance and more remembering this, right? So we have to keep doing it, keep nurturing our relationship in that way.
Yeah, and sometimes it may feel obvious, like I told you yesterday I love you, or it's obvious I take care of things, so that means I love you. But at the same time, there is something about our nervous system that got relaxed when you hear your partner saying it or doing something that it's clearly showing that they are there for you. We go into the routine and automatic path every day, and we just forgot. Last week we talked about appreciations. Like that's one of the rituals that you can do with each other, to share something you appreciate about your partner and why you appreciate. If you want to learn more, just watch the video from last week. That can be one way of ending the day or ending the week, something that will help you to connect around it.
Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to transition, what we want to invite you to do is on a daily basis, right? Every time you separate, right? Like you're going from being together to being separately from each other. Every time you come back together, right? And that includes, as we said, going to sleep and waking up in the morning. Do something that connects you with your partner. It could take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It doesn't have to be a big deal. But you do something that acknowledges the other person. You do something that connects to the other person. We'll give you examples in a moment. And you take time to recognize that transition. Because when you do that, it's like you're responding to that something in the back of the mind that says, do you still love me? Do you still care about me? Am I still important to you? You're showing to the other person that you are.
Right. Yeah, so we can give you one example, or few, but one that we like to do is when we have busy days, which usually that's what we have. We're passing through each other, but we just pause for a moment and we look at each other's eyes. So it's just like a moment of like, hi, I see you, you're here, I'm here, and acknowledging the presence of each other. And it takes maybe 3 to 5 seconds, but there is a moment of both of us just like taking a deep breath, just relaxing into each other and moving on.
Just recognizing we're together, because otherwise we could be actually in the same house, go for a full day and look at each other in the evening. We're like,
hi,
were you really here? You know, did we spend the day together? I didn't. You know, we were just doing stuff. It didn't feel like we being with each other.
Right. So it seems just like obvious, like we just spend the whole day together because we spend the day near each other working on our laptops, but we're actually not really connecting in any way. So that little like slowing down, looking at each other's eyes is very powerful for us. It can be a hug that we love to do also. Sometimes we just hug for a moment. It doesn't have to be a big hug. We're just like relaxing into each other's bodies, which feels so yummy. Even just now, just like
You almost got here, and then you didn't.
and then just pulled away. Yes. So just giving a hug for a moment, or maybe holding a hand. It can be slowing down and eating lunch together, or having a snack
just
together.
before you go to lunch, I mean, I just want to say, touch is very, very primal, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, think about in everything that has to do also with transition. You can think about how, you know, when you have kids or if you've been around kids, what do? Actually, people automatically do transitions. It's amazing how like every parent knows how to do it, but when it comes to our partner, we forget that. Like, so when you're saying goodbye to your child, every parent knows, like, hey, we make a big deal out of it. It's like, hey, you're gonna go away, bye, you know, give them a kiss, I love you, right? When you see them, first thing, hi, you know, how's your day? How's it going on? It's so good to see you. We give them a big embrace and a hug and a kiss. When we go to bed, right, like we whole ritual of like reading them a book or taking a shower or singing a song. So, and so we do that so naturally with our kids, and we don't do that with each other. Forget that, you know, I like to say we're just like kids with a license to drive, basically. We have the same needs exactly, and so.
Did you see how he softened when he talked about the kids? Like, just like he's kind of like that more, kind of like mushy and sweet, that's what we're looking for, that moment of just like, yes, connecting from the heart and being there for your partner from a place of vulnerability and simplicity, right? I'm here, hi, how is your day? Awful, great, perfect, okay, maybe you can tell me about it more later. Give a hug, hold a hand, thank you, and move to the next thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Got me. But I started talking about the kids because I also talked about touch. So touch is very primal, right? Like it goes very deep into our brain, into our nervous system. Again, that's a lot of what we do with kids. We pick them up, we hold them a lot. And so we respond very strongly to touch. And there's actually a lot of research that shows that in the United States, for example, couples touch each other way less than other cultures. They've done, people went to coffee shops and just looked at couples who didn't know that they were looking at them and just counted how many times couples who are sitting in a coffee shop actually touch each other. And they found that in an hour it may be one or two in the United States, which could be like 20 or 30 in other cultures. So we're very touch deprived. And so using a moment just to hug or touch of the hand, like Liron is saying, is very, very powerful. It's a reminder, hey, I'm here with you, I love you, on a very body level.
Yeah, I want to add that some couples has this ritual of when they leave the house, they kind of like, hey babe, love you, and go. It's great, but it's missing the part of actually really physically looking at each other and say, I love you. You kind of like throwing it along your way to leave the house, which there is nothing wrong about it. But if you really want to make it as a connection, as a ritual, and make your partner feel loved, take a moment to go to your partner before you leave, look them in their eyes, say, hey, I love you, and leave. That will make a whole difference, imprint on their heart, on their body, on their nervous system. Like, oh, right, it's not being thrown away. The words are not kind of like flying in the air right now. They landed.
And another idea of what to do in the transition is also to just check in verbally with each other, like, hey, what's your plan for the day? Or how was your day, right? Just, it could just be brief of like, but say more than just, it was fine or okay, right? Like if you're responding to that, just say something that was actually meaningful for you.
I want to encourage the partner, if the other one saying like, yes, it was fine, it's like, can you tell me more? Can you share with me what was fine? Can you share with me things that did not work for you? What did you like about your day? What worked for you? What did you do well? So make them telling you about their experience and not just like, oh, it was fine, okay, sure. No, connect with them, be there for them.
So those are some examples of what you can do in transitions, and you can think to yourself like what would work for you, what would work for your partner. You can make it your own, you can make your own ritual that is different than what we shared. The important thing is to make it a ritual, which means it's like a practice. It means it's something that you do even if you don't feel like it, right? A lot of time we think about things as like, when I feel something, I do it. Like when I feel close to you, then I give you a hug, right? But the same thing can work in reverse, okay? So I'm not necessarily feeling close to you, but if I give you a hug, now I become closer to you. I start to feel closer to you. And so the idea of making it a practice or a ritual is that you do it whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it. It will create that feeling if you do it. Right. So don't wait for something. Don't wait to feel really good or really loving towards doing it, but actually do it anyway, and then you'll see that will create the feeling.
Right. Sometimes, you're not in such a good mood, or you had an argument the night before and you feel far away from each other. Even though that's the case, we do want to encourage you to keep the ritual. So you will, as Gal says, you will be able to come back to each other much faster, because it's like, oh, I know my partner is there. Even though they are angry at me, I'm angry at them, I don't feel connected, I don't feel like I want to be in contact. That's what will bring you back and will help you to do the right conversation about what's happened last night. So you kind of like preparing the atmosphere to have a better, deeper conversation. Yeah.
And so you're welcome also to write us in the chat if that's something you feel like you can do or not. Would love to hear from you.
I want also to hear if you already have some rituals that you're doing with your partner, like things that already exist in your relationship. A kiss, goodbye kiss, or when you go to sleep,
or a dance.
A dance, or you spooning each other, or taking a shower. I don't know. tell us what do you do? We would love to hear that. Maybe get some ideas from you guys. Yeah. Sure. Okay. And someone asked to
Go live with
go
us.
live with us.
So it's the first time we're doing it. Let's see how it works.
Hello.
Anyone here with us? Okay, doesn't seem like it's working. Okay, we also want to say that if you'd like to know more, actually tomorrow night, so Thursday night, 8:30 in California time, we're actually doing a more expanded mini workshop, an hour and a half mini workshop on creating your own rituals of connection. We're going to expand on a lot of those different topics. We're going to have you find and create your own rituals in it. And so if you're interested about just creating a more deeper connection, more rich connection, more fun connection with each other without working too hard. Right?
Having a date night with your partner, you can sit in your living room, having like a tea or wine, whatever you like, and just join us to a really fun evening. That's we do to support you and also to make this holiday season much more connected and fun and a pleasure for your relationship. That would be wonderful to see you right there.
Okay, so you can go to lovemadesimple.com and under workshops, look at our mini workshop for tomorrow and sign up, and we'll be happy to see you.
Wonderful. Okay, so see you also next week, Wednesday at 12:30 or tomorrow. Okay, bye.